Can you hear me? Okay, we can't hear him. I can't hear from the speaker. The witness, when he speaks, I can't hear him. Now you can hear the echo.
Mr. Wisnet, are you hearing me? You can hear me. Mr. Fall, please, can you make a test with him?
Hello, Mr. Witness. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Could you say again?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. We will continue with our proceedings for this afternoon. Council, are you ready? And are the technicians ready?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we are ready. We have the witness on the screen. He's testifying from US of A. With your permission, I would ask the witness to make the affirmation, and then we proceed. Well, Mr. Chair, I think if you wish, you may dispense with the earpiece. You may be able to hear me through the, how do you call it, the loudspeaker. Only that there's an echo, and that is a bit distracting, but I'll attempt to proceed and see whether they'll be able to fix it as we proceed. Mr. Chair, it appears that we have two problems. We can only solve one and not both. So we either live with the echo or then contend with the hissing noise, or vice versa. So I think I leave it to you to decide individually what you want, whether to hear me or to hear us through the speaker, which means you would have to deal with the echo, or to hear me through the earpiece and deal with the hissing noise that is there. So these are some of the vagaries of the arrangements that we have at the moment. So we got to deal with those.
Council, maybe we can hear both issues or systems, and at the end of the thing decide which one is less problematic.
I think one can make an individual decision. I mean, all of us can choose to listen to. We can all individually choose to listen to the loudspeaker, or we use the earpiece. So I think I would use the earpiece because it's a little better in spite of the hissing noise. But it's a matter of choice. So with your permission, I would start.
Please continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I ask that you leave the speaker on, you know. So, Mr. Witness, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the TRRC. Before we proceed, I'll ask you to make the following affirmation after me. I state your name, please.
Baboucarr,
Hereby affirm
hereby affirm
that the evidence I shall give
that the evidence I shall give
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
Mr. Mboob, my name is Esa Fall. My responsibility today is to help you narrate your story to the Commission. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
I'll advise you to look down a little bit so that we would have a full view of your face. Thank you very much, Mr. Mboob. Before we start, I want to remind you of certain important legal issues. That is the duty to speak the truth and the consequences of not doing so. You have been informed before you appear today or this afternoon. You've been informed that it is a crime under the laws of the Gambia to make a false statement while under an affirmation or under an oath. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You have also been informed that it's a crime under the TRRC Act to make a false statement before the TRRC. Correct?
Correct.
I again remind you of the obligation to speak the truth and that it is only the truth that will set you free. Do you understand?
I do.
So, can you kindly tell us your full names, please?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi sahri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. My name is Baboucarr Mboob.
What is your date of birth?
My date of birth is October 4th, 1967.
Mr. Mboob, I crave your indulgence to look down a little bit so that we would have a good view of your face and also
Okay.
for you to speak into the microphone because some of what you're saying do not come clear. Maybe you should tilt the screen maybe a little towards you.
Is this okay?
This is better.
Oh.
This is better. But if it looks to me that the shot or it's frozen, so okay, it's moving now. So thank you very much. So kindly remind us again your date of birth, please.
October 4th, 1967.
Where were you born?
In Nukabe, Lower Nyomi, North Bank Division.
Ndungu Kebe, which division?
North Bank.
Okay, thank you very much. Where did you go to school?
I first started in Nukabe Primary School in 1975 and then proceeded to Banjul Secondary Technical School in Banjul in 1985. No, sorry, in 1981.
And you completed in 1985, correct?
Yes, I do.
And you enlisted in the Gambia National Army in 1991, correct?
Yes, sir.
And where did you train?
I trained military training in Fort Fenye.
Do you recall your intake number?
It was intake number 15.
Do you recall when you completed your training?
Yes, it was in the same 1991 May.
And where were you deployed after your training?
I was deployed in Yundum Barracks.
Did you pursue any other training soon after?
Not very soon after, but in the same the following year, 1992, yes, I went to Ghana for a boxing course.
And you returned in the same year, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what did you do from 1992 to 1996?
From 1992 to 1996, after returning from Ghana, after a short time, I was moved, transferred to the regimental police. We call it RP in the military. And I was in the military until the Nigerians, when the Nigerians came, the military police was now moved to the army. That's when I was transferred to the military police, and I was there until 1996 again. Then I was also again sent to Nigeria for a bodyguard course. After completion of that course, that's when I was actually moved to the State House in 1996.
And what work did you perform at State House?
In State House, I was a general bodyguard to the then President Yaya Jammeh and his family, performing the general bodyguard duties.
And you remained in this position until when?
I remained in this position until 2000, very early 2001. Then I was now the orderly to the president in his office.
And in 2001 and 2004, what work were you doing?
I was an orderly to the president, the ex-president Yaya Jammeh, in his office.
And what did you do after that?
After that, after 2004, I moved to Baboucarr Barracks to join the commando unit, and I was there until my relocation to the U.S.
Which occurred when?
In 2004, late 2004.
Good. Thank you very much. So, in the month of November 1994, where were you stationed?
In the month of November 1994, I was still with the military police, and then that time I was actually like detached to the army headquarters. When I get up in the morning, I go to work to Banjul in the headquarters, and then return back to Yundum Barracks, where I was residing in the evening.
So in 1994 November, you were residing in Yundum Barracks.
That is correct.
And your station, your duty station was Army headquarters in Banjul, correct?
Very correct.
Can you tell us what happened on the evening of 10 November 1994?
On the 10th of November in the evening, I was out walking about with my ex-wife then, Jennifer Ture, and our 3-month-old son. It was like a routine sometimes when I get off in the evening. I go about walking about with her, and then at that evening I stopped in Fafanyang's house, the late Fafanyang's house, just to say hello because he was a family friend also. So when we came, my wife and our baby were, even I myself also, we were all sitting in the living room, just ready to chat. That's when the late Fafanyang called me into his bedroom. So I left my wife in this room and go and answer to him in the bedroom. That's when Fafanyang disclosed to me that they're planning to stage a coup. Just planning to stage a coup d'etat. And then he asked me to join. Then I asked him what are the plans and who are the members of this coup who are planning this coup. But he declined not to tell me who the coup plotters are, who are the leaders, and what are the plans. That's when but in my mind, I decided not to get myself involved in those kind of informations or those kind of activities, since I don't have no clear decision about it. He was talking to me.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you.
Okay.
I need to clear a few issues from what you have said.
Okay.
You did indicate that you went with your wife for a walk and you passed by Fafanyang's house or his accommodation. Yes. And Fafanyang called you into the living room and confided into his bedroom, and confided to you that they were planning a coup d'etat and wanted you to join.
Yeah.
But he declined to tell you who the other members of the plot were. And you said in your mind that you would not join something that you don't know the full details. That is what you said, correct? Okay.
Yes, sir.
At this time, you were a member of the military police, correct?
Yes, sir.
And your job as a member of the military police was what?
Was to actually at that time, my job was to investigate and make reports, like if there's any case between the military and any civilian, or between a soldier and another soldier. We do the investigation and we do the recommendations, and then forward it to our commander, whoever it is, so that he can forward that information we have and the recommendation we have to the authority at that time.
Essentially, what you were saying is that your work was to investigate crimes involving soldiers,
yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
And at this stage, what Fafanyang told you was already a crime in the making, correct?
It is true.
And your job as a member of the military police at the time was to investigate, detect, and bring to justice those people who were committing crimes, those soldiers who were committing crimes, just like Fafanyang himself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you left Fafanyang's house knowing fully well that your friend, your close friend, your family friend, as you described him, was planning to commit a crime which you have an obligation to investigate, correct?
That is true.
Tell us what happened after you left Fafanyang's house.
Well, after I left Fafanyang's house, I told my wife that we should go back to my house. When we go there, at that time I couldn't even tell her nothing. I was thinking about this, how to go about this. But at that time also, we already knew that the council members knew that there was something going on. They already know that there are officers that are planning to stage a coup. And they actually even came to the barracks on that afternoon whilst I was still in Banjul. So this confirmed to me that it was true, because for me, I was just hearing rumors at that time. When I get up in the morning, all that I do is to go to work in Banjul, and I have my senior men and everybody in the office there in the barracks. I am pretty much sure that they're aware of this situation also. So at that time of the evening, I don't have nothing that I can do at that time. I don't have no means of communication. There were no phones. There were nothing that I can even do anything. All that I can do is to wait in the morning. If nothing happened at all, then I will definitely proceed before I go to Banjul, make sure that this was reported to my senior men. But it was
Mboob,
that very night.
Mr. Mboob,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Mboob,
Yes, sir.
speak a little bit slowly and into the microphone so that we get clearly what you're saying. But from what you've said, you seem to be suggesting that you could not report this matter because all your senior officers were not in the camp and you had no means of communication. Is that what you're telling us?
That is correct, sir.
But Mr. Mboob, you know that is not correct.
What is not correct?
What you have just said.
Well, that time there were no.
Okay. In the camp, every day there would be an officer who would be responsible for running the camp in the evening, correct?
That is correct.
And your accommodation was just a few hundred meters away from the camp, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that senior officer who would be responsible for the camp would have been available that night, correct?
That is correct.
I think there's a relay of what I have just said, but maybe that's just a technical glitch. So that senior officer would have been available at that night, correct?
That is very correct.
You did not go to him, did you?
I didn't, for the simple reason that since he didn't provide to me those who were involved, I don't trust no one at that time. I don't know who is involved and who is not. I don't know who to go to. The only thing that I can do at that time, and my only consent that I trust at that time was to make sure that this is reported in the morning before I go to Banjul.
And to whom would you report it? To who would you report it?
If I had woke up in the next morning without anything happening, then I will definitely stop by the office to see if there's any senior man in the office at that time, and I will tell him what I heard.
But there was already a senior man in the camp. You could have gone to him.
That's what I just said. I didn't trust nobody at that time.
The your accommodation, how far is it from Banjulunding?
Is I would say about 3 miles.
You know the accommodation of the then army commander, didn't you?
Who? Which army commander?
Baboucarr Jatta.
I don't know whether he was living in the barracks at that time, or if he was living anywhere close at that time.
Mr. Witness, you worked at Army headquarters. Baboucarr Jatta worked at Army headquarters, correct?
Yes, sir. But that time it was the Nigerians. It was no, sorry. Yeah, it was the Nigerians who were in the headquarters. They were the one commanding the headquarters at that time.
We are saying November 10th, 1994.
November 10, 1994. Whoever was at the commanding at that time, I don't know where he was living, like his residence. I don't know it.
Mr. Mboob, how could you be working at the army headquarters together with Baboucarr Jatta? He lived at Banjulunding. You lived at the barracks. You didn't know where he lived at the time? Wouldn't that be surprising?
It might be surprising, but it is the truth. I don't know where he lived at that time.
Okay, we move on. Tell us what you did after you went back to your house.
I convinced my wife and advised her that I want her to go to Serakunda to my aunt and spend the night there. Since I was sent, the way Fafanyang spoke to me and the domain and the movement I'm seeing in the barracks, I sense that there's a kind of a very, very imminent coup, or it is right in the advanced state right now. It could be at any time. It could be either today, or it could be any other time. And I just don't want family to be around the barracks at that time. So I convinced her to go to Serakunda to my aunt and spend the night there. She agreed with me. I make her prepare, and then as I was going to the highway to make sure that she have a transportation, I went straight into the barracks. That's when I saw Buba Jammeh, aka Kanilai. They call him Kanilai. He was in a white van at that time, heading towards the gate going out of the barracks. I asked him if he was going to Serakunda around that area because I just want him to drop my wife for me. He agreed with that, and that's how I saw my wife off. Looking at the people in the soldiers in the barracks there, I know that there is something up. But at that time, I couldn't talk to anybody neither. That's when I just walked straight to my house again, did my prayers that night, and I ate, and I went to bed in full uniform and my rifle by my side.
Preparing for what?
Just as a soldier, not knowing what is coming up next, that's the only thing I can do at that time. Making sure that whatever is coming.
Mr. Mboob, here you are. You've been informed that a coup was going to take place.
Yeah.
You deemed it important to send your wife away from the barracks that night, correct?
Yes. Yes.
From the movement that you saw, you believe this was going to take place very soon, correct?
Yeah.
And you did all the necessary to prepare yourself to go and fight.
Yes, sir.
On which side?
Not at any side. At that time, I was just getting myself ready, not like to fight here or to fight there, but just to arm myself as a soldier and then just see what is going to happen next. That is exactly
Mr. Mboob,
how I was thinking.
Mr. Mboob, we are
Yes,
not
sir.
investigating who participated in November 11 on side A or side B. That's not the issue here. If you
Yes, sir.
supported the coup, say it. If you didn't, say it. But it looked like you are readying yourself to participate in the coup you have just been informed about by your friend.
That is absolutely incorrect, sir. That is absolutely incorrect.
But nonetheless, you did not report the matter. You came across somebody who was leaving the camp. You could have left with him to go and report the matter at the police. Couldn't you have done so?
I could have done so at that time also, but it was not in my mind. It wasn't ringing in my mind that one. And the way I saw Buba Jammeh leaving, I know that they are already aware of what was going on at that very instant.
To put it simply, you had no intention of reporting this matter.
I did have the intention of reporting it, but to my closest commander at that time, definitely yes.
And who was that?
At that time, it was Captain Butu, late Captain Juf. We used to call him Butu.
That was the head of military police at the time.
At that time, yes, sir.
And you had an opportunity to leave the camp, didn't you?
I did have the opportunity, yes, sir, to leave the camp. Yes, sir.
And you didn't take it?
I didn't take it because I wasn't thinking that way like that. I was just thinking like I'm a soldier. I don't know even like if I leave the barracks, how would I go back and all. I wasn't thinking straight like that at that time.
So you went ahead and prepared yourself for a fight?
I prepared myself not for a fight itself, but just to defend myself as a soldier in the barrack. If anything comes my way, I know that I support the regime at that time. I don't have no intention of staging any coup, joining any coup. And whenever it's time to, when my service is needed at any time, I was just getting myself ready for that.
Let us move on, Mr. Witness. So you went back to your house, you prayed, ate, dressed yourself in full military uniform, took your rifle, and then what did you do after that?
After I ate, I dressed up and then I went to bed with my rifle by my side, just waiting to see what's going to happen. Then after I would say very early in the morning, that's when I was woken up by gunshots.
What time in the morning?
Then
What time in the morning?
I don't know exactly what time, but it was getting much clearer at that time. It was getting more clear. Yes,
was
sir.
it after Fajr prayers?
I would say it would be around that area, around that time. It was getting clear at that time. Yeah, it was getting bright.
At this time, had you already prayed Fajr prayers?
No, sir.
Okay, let's try to make an approximation of the time. Was it 3 a.m. or after 3 a.m.?
No, sir. It was early in the morning. It was definitely closer to the sun coming up, rising up.
7 a.m.?
But I'm sorry?
7 a.m.? 8 a.m.? 9 a.m.?
No, before that time. I would say before 7. Definitely before 7.
6 a.m. or after 6 a.m.?
I don't know. I cannot remember the time, sir.
Okay, what happened after you woke up?
I ran and I went straight to the barracks. Actually, I stopped by the office there and asked. There was only one, I think, one personnel I found in the office, and I asked him what's going on, but he couldn't tell me nothing at that time. And I also forgot who exactly was there in the barracks. But that there are soldiers in the barracks right now. That's when I rushed to the barracks. And when I came, that's when I saw soldiers were in the barracks at that time. And I saw Edwards himself right in front of the mess, the anteroom, in front of the anteroom. And there were a lot of soldiers around that area also, a very, very number of large soldiers.
Okay.
So we were,
How long did it take you to get to the anteroom from the time you woke up?
I don't know, but it will be less than 10 minutes, definitely. It will be less than 10 minutes. I stopped by our office, but then I didn't stay there long, and I proceeded.
So when you arrived at the anteroom area, you said who?
I
Who did
found
you
a lot
find?
of soldiers there, even a lot of soldiers, including Edward Singata. I saw him, I could still remember.
How about other council members? Did you see them there at this time?
I couldn't remember.
Um, I can tell you from the testimonies that we have received that the council members left Fajara Barracks around after 6 a.m. and returned to Yundum Barracks. Would it be
Okay.
correct from what you're saying that you saw Edward Singate at the barracks at around 7 a.m.?
It could be. It could be. I really don't remember the time, but it could be. But I don't remember the time, definitely.
During this time, when you arrived at the barracks, were you able to see people and recognize them from some reasonable distance, like 20, 30 meters?
Yes, sir.
So would it be safe to suggest that you arrived at the barracks at around 7 a.m.?
It could be 7 o'clock. It could be before 7. It could be a little after 7. But I'm sure it is in that area, in that time frame.
So it was already dawn at the time you got to the barracks.
It was definitely, yeah.
And you said you were woken up by gunshots, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what is the distance between your accommodation and the main barracks, the guardroom area?
The distance is, you will say, maybe 5 to 600 meters, less than a kilometer.
And if guns were fired in the barracks, you being in your accommodation, you should hear it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and you said that you were woken up by gunfire around 6 to 7 a.m. And that's the first time you heard the gunshots, correct?
That's the first.
What is strange, Mr. Witness, is that the gunshots that were fired at Yundum Barracks, based on the evidence that we already have, those gunshots occurred around after midnight to between midnight and 2 a.m. What do you say to that?
I don't know about that, but I'm sure that what I heard that woke me up was a gunshot. It could be sporadic, somebody just opened fire or something, but that I heard was a gunshot.
How many gunshots did you hear?
Well, one woke me up, and since I woke up, I didn't hear another one.
So you heard
I
only
didn't hear
one gunshot?
another one. Yes, sir.
But wouldn't it be strange that throughout the night, of midnight and 2 a.m., there was a lot of gunshots? You didn't hear it, but you heard the lone gunshot at dawn. Wouldn't that be strange?
It is not strange to me. Since I was sleeping, you could be woke up by a little tap, or sometimes a loud bang. You will not even hear. It's not
But
strange to
you
me.
couldn't hear the sustained gunfire, but you heard the one gunshot. Wouldn't that be strange?
Maybe it's because at that time I already have enough sleep, and anything can wake me up. It could be that too. But I'm sure that when they were firing in the night, I didn't hear even a single gunshot.
Even though you were 500 to 600 meters away from where the events were happening.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it, Mr. Witness, that you do not wish to place yourself at the Yundum barracks for the hours in which the fighting was taking place?
You're coming breaking, sir. I didn't hear your question.
I will repeat that, thank you. Is it the case, Mr. Witness, that you are avoiding to place yourself at Yundum barracks at the time when the fighting was going on, the hours of 1 a.m. and 2 a.m.?
No, sir. That's not the case, sir. I was ready for anything for my service. And if I had had anything at that time, I was just going to get up and go.
And to offer your services to who?
To the government.
But earlier on you said you did not know to which side you were going to fight on behalf of.
No, what I meant there is not. I don't know. Getting myself prepared, just in case of anything. I am already armed and to defend myself. That's what I meant on that side. But like the question of which side am I on? It was definitely the government of the day. I was just loyal to the government of the day.
Okay, so tell us what happened when you arrived at the barracks at 7 a.m. or thereabout.
Well, within 5 minutes, when I noticed Edward Singate, and it was almost the same time, he was ordering soldiers to go and get Papanyang from the guard room and execute him.
And
I was right there.
Would it be correct to say that this Fafanyang is the person who briefed you about the coup d'etat the night before?
Yes, sir. It's the same Papanyang. Yes, sir.
And would it be correct to say that from the moment Fafanyang informed you, you had an obligation to report the matter, correct?
I had an obligation to report the matter, yes, sir.
And you failed to report the matter as at the time you arrived at the barracks, correct?
At the time I arrived at the barracks?
You have failed to report the matter.
At the time, like I said, I don't trust anybody to tell, because Fafanyang did not tell me who and who was involved.
Yes,
so I couldn't tell.
Precisely. By the time you got to the barracks, you did not report the matter to any superior officer, correct?
You mean in the morning?
Yes.
I didn't report because at that time everybody knows what was going on.
And you know, in the military, failure to report a planned coup, failure to report to a superior officer of a planned coup is in fact an offense, correct?
That is correct, but that was not my intention. I was just ready to report it. If it was not, if it was neglect at that time.
But the fact remains that as at the time you found yourself at the barracks, you did not report it.
I did not, because that time it was already known to everyone.
Okay. And you knew that failure to report the matter was an offense, correct?
At that time, everybody was aware already, so
Mr.
nobody
Mboob,
was asking.
let's just answer the questions. This is a straight yes or no answer. You were
Okay.
a member of the military police. You knew that failure to report information about a coup was an offense. You knew that, correct?
Yes.
Good. So, and Fafanyang was being brought out, and you knew that this is the same guy who gave you information about the coup, correct?
Yes, I did.
And this guy was going to be executed, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that point in time, you knew that if he had pointed you out, you may probably be arrested for also concealing the information that there was going to be a coup, correct?
It cannot point because I didn't tell him, yes, I'm in. I didn't tell him that. He cannot point me out.
Mr. Witness, the issue here is not whether you are part of the coup or that you have agreed to participate. That is not the issue. The issue here is that you already have information that a coup was going to take place. That is the issue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if he had pointed you out as someone who knew about it, you would be in trouble, correct?
That is correct, but I am sure that he was not going to do that because he didn't get confirmation from me that I was part of the coup. I understand what you're asking me, but I didn't say that at that time. I wasn't afraid of anything at that time.
Okay, the question is, would you have been in trouble if he had identified you as someone who received information that the coup was going to take place?
Well, that it might be, yes, but I wasn't thinking that he was ever going to say that because he didn't have no information. He didn't have no confirmation from me, so I wasn't thinking like that.
Okay, we would proceed. So, when Edward said, "Bring out Fafanyang," what happened after that?
That's when I just stepped back like this and I saw soldiers running to the guard room because at that time I don't even know where Fafanyang was locked up. When they say bring Fafanyang, I was like looking around, where is Fafanyang? That's when I came to realize that he was locked up in the guard room. So I saw them run over there, and in a matter of minutes, I saw Fafanyang running, coming from the guard room area. He was running in just a knicker, like a underwear, no uniform, no nothing, no shirt, no underwear, no singlet, no nothing, just with a little underwear that he was wearing at that time. So they forced him to run. He was running. Some of the soldiers were hitting, some of them were kicking as he ran. And when he came close to Edward there, actually they even forced him to crawl between where he stopped to Edward Singate. That's when yeah.
Okay, we do it in bits. When he was removed out of the guard room, you say he was already stripped of his uniform and he had no clothes except his underwear. And did they do anything to him during that time?
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's what I just said. That they forced him to run. And some of the soldiers, like if he's running, passing soldiers, some will be kicking him, trying to bring him down. some will be punching him if they're able to get him, and that's how he get to Edward Singate.
And which soldiers do you recognize among those who were doing this?
Definitely, I cannot remember that right now, but I know that there were soldiers at that time.
You can't remember, or you wouldn't tell?
No, it is not because of that. I just cannot remember.
Okay. All right. And when he got to Edward Singate, what happened?
When he got there, Edward Singate gave the final order that Edward Fafanyang should. When they asked him again, I was right there standing, and then they asked him. Although I didn't know those soldiers, but I know that they were not from the barracks. They were not from the barracks. They asked him to run again. They forced him to run again to was the cookhouse. When Fafanyang ran until he stopped, I was right there standing, and I saw Staff Sergeant Lamin Gassama and Private Bala Jiba. Both of them were standing in a firing position at that time.
And what happened?
So then I was watching when I saw, first of all, I saw Staff Sergeant Gassama took an aim like he was about to shoot, So when I looked at Fafanyang, he was still standing. Then I looked back again to see Gassama. But then that's when this shot, actually, one shot was fired. And at that same instant also, I saw Balajiba, who was at that time on the firing position like this. And then that's when he dropped his rifle. So I didn't know whether it was actually Balajiba who released that shot or Staff Sergeant Gassama who relieved the shot. But in my mind at that time up till now, I was thinking that it was between the two of them who released that shot. It could have been another soldier, but I didn't see another soldier at the time. But these two, I definitely remember seeing them in the firing position. And by the time the shot went off, it was Balajiba whom I saw on the firing position like that.
And what happened after that?
So that's the time again, soldiers ran again, grabbed Fafanyang on the hands, some on the legs. They were trying to bring him to Edward Singate, but Fafanyang was still alive at that time. Fafanyang was still alive, so they put him down between the cookhouse and the ration store. There's a driveway. They put him down there. This is the time when Lamin Koli, that time I think he was a private, Lamin Koli ran and came there. He first released and missed him. Then he released another shot that hit him there. And that was the round actually that killed Fafanyang.
So let's first deal with the action of Koli. From what you saw, was that deliberate or was it accidental?
Well, if it was accidental, I don't think he was gonna do it twice. Because if as a soldier, if you make a negligent charge, which is like firing your weapon by accident, you should definitely stop and correct that. But if it fire again, and this time you're pointing your gun to the individual, I don't think that's accidental. It could be an accident, but I don't think so.
Did you see him aim at the victim, Fafanyang?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you see him press the trigger?
I saw him fire his weapon.
And in your book, as an experienced soldier, that was deliberate?
I will say that, yes, sir.
Okay, now let's take it a few steps backwards. Fafanyang was allegedly brought out of the guard room and pushed towards Edward Singate, or the direction where he was shot, by yourself. What do you say to that? By the way, perhaps maybe before you answer, let me ask the technicians to play this video, and you see it, and you tell us what you think.
Okay.
Can you kindly play the video, the excerpt of Esa Mendy talking about the killing of Fafanyang?
From there, we went back to Yundum Barracks. When we arrived at Yundum Barracks, we stood in front of the guard room there. This man was brought in, Sergeant Fafa Nyang was brought in by Corporal Kanyi and Mboob.
Which couple Kanye are you referring to?
We call him Alaji Kanyi.
And who else?
Baboucarr Mboob.
What was Baboucarr Mboob's rank?
He was he was a lance corporal.
And they brought out Fafanyang. And
Yes,
can
sir.
can you show us how Fafanyang was being brought out, the way he was treated? Can you show us? We want to appreciate, we want to have a good understanding how Fafanyang was handled when he was being taken out.
Can I get up?
By all means.
Okay, sir.
Microphone.
Kindly
yes.
up the volume.
Speak through the microphone.
This was the guard room here. Then there is rooms, houses around there. So we were standing here. He was dragged. Both of them, one handle here, one handle there. They were pulling him. Then he was saying, "Bilai walai talai, I am not a monk." That was the word that he was saying. But Sana Sabali ordered them, go and shoot him. So they drag him up to the anteroom area towards the guard room. Then they fire.
That's fine, Mr. Witness. That's fine, technicians. So, Mr. Witness, you have seen the testimony of Esa Kanyi on the oath. He said, you and Kanyi brought out Fafanyang and took him to where he was shot and killed.
I am on the oath too, as I'm speaking to you. And I'm saying that that is not true at all. Fafanyang in the first place was not even grabbed by the hands, as far as I can remember. He was just let running like that, naked, almost naked, and soldiers were kicking and beating him. There was nobody who actually held him at that. I wouldn't say he was not grabbed from the guard room because I don't even see him coming from the guard room. I just saw him when he made that left coming towards the anteroom. That's when I saw him running.
So you are saying, therefore, that